Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do glitter tattoos. Glitter tattoos are very quick. They're pretty easy. They do have a little bit of detail that you have to pay attention to in order for them to come out correctly. But otherwise, once you get the hang of it, they are super easy. So the first step is we have our water bottle here. It is filled with alcohol, a 70%. We're just going to clean the skin. Soak a cotton ball. And now when placing the stencil, you want a smooth surface. Usually along the back of your arm you have hair, and when we take off the stencil, it can kind of feel like ripping off a band-aid. It's also going to be a lot harder to clean if they want to remove it. So try to get them to put it on a smooth surface, like the inside of their wrist. So I'm going to apply it right here. I'm just going to clean that. Make sure all that dirt, not sure if you can see that, all that dirt comes off. And you're going to want to make sure that that is completely dry before moving on to your next step. So something I like to do to move along the process for glitter tattoos, make it a little bit of a quicker process, is do multiple tattoos at once. So I'll have 2 or 3 kids lined up. I'll go and I'll clean their arms all at the same time, and then I'll just kind of go down the line. And that way too they feel like they're being active at the party. So next step is we have our stencil. This is a 3-part stencil. It has a clear vinyl overlay, and then we have the actual stencil, and then the white backing. So to prepare our stencil, we are going to remove the white backing. There we go. And just make sure that you go nice and slow, just in case there are any little bits. Like you see, some of these lines are pretty thin. We want to make sure that they're not going to come off the stencil and rip. You can ask the kid which way they want it facing. So this would be facing towards the child. This would be facing away. I'm going to do it towards myself, or towards you. I changed my mind. We're going to do it towards you so you can kind of see it better. So the skin is nice and clean. I'm going to press down and smooth it out. Really making sure it is on there nice and smoothly. Give it a good rub. Get any air bubbles that might be on there out. Stick it down nice. Make sure it is going to stick completely to flat to their arm. Otherwise, it will be much harder to get the glitter to go exactly where you want to go. So once it's on there pretty well, and these stencils that we have, we might have to upgrade. I found that they're not too sticky, but they work well enough. So we're going to remove that clear piece next. When removing the clear piece, if you can see, I already have this little thing that wants to come up with it. So you can go ahead and stick it back down. Stick it back down as you release it. So I'm going to peel off the clear vinyl as close to the stencil as possible. You can usually work around the edges first and make your way into the middle. Sometimes that's easier if you have any small pieces that seem like they want to come up with the stencil while you're peeling it off. And you're going to remove it close to the skin too. So see how I'm pressing it all the way down? It's really close to my skin when I'm peeling it. That's going to help those little pieces stay on better too. Go from this side. So take your time with this. Push down. Once the stencil is off, you'll save that piece. I gotta readjust here. Make sure that, give it another press, make sure that, once again, all those pieces are down nice and smooth. Otherwise, you're going to have leaks in your stencil, and the glue is going to be able to get underneath it, and so will the glitter, and you're going to have these awkward clumps. But there's our stencil all applied. Okay, so next, we're going to take our glue, and we're going to apply a very thin layer. The thicker the layer that you have for the glue, it's going to be it's going to take longer to dry, and B, it's going to make it so that either when you remove the stencil, it might not peel off the way you want. It could also leave you with big clumps of glitter in your design. So, nice thin layer. So here we go. We have this kind of brush, which makes it pretty easy. And you're just going to go over the stencil. You do want to make sure that it is completely covered though. So completely cover that stencil with the glue. Now you want to do this part pretty quickly. You don't want the glue to dry before you remove the stencil. So do it pretty quickly so that you can take it off while the glue is still, oopsie, that was way too much glue. And if I had put too much glue on, I might take this sticky part and just dab it slightly. And that's going to help remove some of the excess glue. Now before it dries, I'm going to peel it off. Because if you peel it off after it's dried, it runs the risk of pulling on the glue and losing that beautiful shape, those beautiful lines, the sharp edges. There you go. All right, perfect. There we go. So it's almost all the way clear. I still have a little bit here, so I'm going to let it dry for just a second longer. I'm not sure, oops, give me a second. I don't know if you can see in the camera here, if you can see the design. You can kind of see it, see where it's shiny. So if you have good lighting, peeling off the stencil works best. If it is poor lighting, you might want to leave the stencil on, but I do recommend removing the stencil first. That's probably going to be the way that gives you the clearest lines, the cleanest lines. So it also looks like I might have actually gotten some glue on the edges where I don't want the design. So if you get any past the edges, so if my stencil ended here, I don't want it going off of it, so I can just remove any excess glue that might have been there where I don't want it. I don't want the glitter to stick. It's going to be there and up here. There we go. Just take some of that rubbing alcohol and go along there. Beautiful. Okay, so now we have, it's completely dry now. So we're going to take our first color then. You can do probably up to like 4 colors, whatever you feel most comfortable. And I'm going to take our small brush that looks like this, nice and clean, and we are going to dip it in our first color. I'm going to take some silver first. I'm just going to dip that in and pretty much just dump it on wherever I want it. You don't have to be too specific. If glitter gets all over the place, it really doesn't matter because we're just going to brush it off. But only stick the color where you want it, obviously. I'm going to move it down here. There we go. Alright, and then I'm going to switch over to another color. I'm going to put that on the next lines. Now it is kind of hard to see, so if you are having a lot of trouble seeing where the stencil is, you can go ahead and leave that stencil on to help you as a guide. But just be careful when doing it that way. And I'm going to end with our tail with this color. Put that on. Okay. So to finish it off, I'm going to remove our excess glitter. I'm going to press the glitter into the design a little bit more. If there's any spots I think I missed, I'll go ahead and go over that. Press it onto the design. Okay, so now we have it, now we have it fully covered. And now it's time for the big reveal. So we're going to take our big brush next, and we're going to wipe off all that extra glitter. Ooh, this awesome shark left. Now you see what I'm saying? There's some spots still left along these edges. And once again, I can just take some rubbing alcohol. I'll put some Q-tips in the box so it's a little easier. But you can just wipe it off. A little rubbing alcohol. It comes right off. Now these are waterproof glitter tattoos, so they shouldn't come off. They should last a couple days, around 3 days or so, depending on, I guess how often the kid showers or whatever. But it said 3 to 7 days usually. So they should stay on if it's doing a pool party or something. It should stay on just fine. But if they did want to remove it, just a little bit of rubbing alcohol will take it off. And there we go. And we have a lovely shark that we're left with. So hopefully you can see that all right. I hope it's in focus. Yeah, pretty cool, huh? So pretty quick, easy. You can do multiple at a time. While you're waiting for the glue to dry on one kid, you can be having the next kid choose their stencil and applying that stencil, and then do the glue for them, and so on down the line, switch back and forth between the kids. And you get these really beautiful designs that kids just love. So there's the tutorial. Hopefully that was helpful. If you have any questions, just let me know. And yeah, on to the next one.